How the heck are you, folks? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a brand new series here in Watcher of Realms. I just wrapped up filming on my last series, which was Best in Class. Go check it out if you haven't yet. It's 5 videos with 5 different collaborators in which we rank every non-Lord legendary hero in the game class by class. So I just filmed the last one. It was Legendary Mages featuring Jake Smash. That'll come out probably 2 or 3 days after this video comes out. But with that series done, I'm ready for a new series, and this is the most requested piece of content, bar none, I'd say over the past 3 to 4 months here on my channel, when I'm streaming, when I'm making videos, in the comments, everywhere. And that is answering the question, what skills do I need to skill up on what heroes? It's a very loaded question. I think a lot of people come from other games like Summoner's Wars and Raid Shadow Legends, and I don't know, other games out there in the gacha space where it's very clear and obvious which skills need to be skilled and which can be ignored. That is not how Watcher of Realms works. There's a lot more conditions. It's a tower defense game. There's a lot more qualifications, but that does not stop people from asking me, who needs what skills? When can I stop? What skills am I targeting? What can I prioritize? Obviously it's random, but people want to know, is there a point on certain heroes that I can stop putting my skill crystals in because they're so rare? So in this series, I am going to go faction by faction and review every single legendary hero and go over every skill and tell you which skills are the most important, rating them from 1 to 3 stars. I'll explain that rating system in a second. Also, there's going to be the rating 0 stars. It will be a rare rating, but that's going to be something as well. And I'm going to just take you through it. A part of the reason I'm making these videos is these star ratings will then be put slowly onto my website. We're going to start with just the legendary heroes, going faction by faction. You can kind of gather based on what's behind me. We'll be kicking things off with the star piercers because I think there's a lot of good examples of how I'm going to approach this task right here in the star piercers. And there's not too many of these legendaries, so hopefully the video won't be too long. But yeah, basically there are what? We'll probably lump unnamables in with Supreme Arbiters. Maybe I'll make 2 separate videos. I don't know. But if you take it from there, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 factions plus unnamables. So we're looking at 9 or 10 videos. And I'll tell you, at the end, it probably will be the biggest video. I will do a bonus video discussing every good, in my estimation, every good epic in the game. So that's how we'll finish this off. It's going to be a lot of videos. Please let me know already in the comments if you appreciate this, because it's just going to be a ton of work and a ton of editing and stuff like that. But I think we've reached a boiling point in the community, at least my viewers have, where they just really want this. We need at the very least get it on the website. Best way to do it is just to make videos and film it all live. These things won't be so heavily edited because there's just so much to discuss. It's going to be mostly me taking you through my thinking and rating every single skill. So we're going to start things off with Aracha, you know, the normal Lord of the Star Piercers, and we'll work our way down to Talula over here. Before we can do that, I need to explain how the rating system works. So basically, Watcher of Realms, aside from very few cases, in which case we will give 0 stars, meaning you do not need to skill this skill at all. If you skip it, you can just never put skills into that ever, unless you want BP or you're a completionist. But that's a very rare thing, the 0 stars. Basically, every skill in this game needs to be skilled. It's just how important is it for your progression. So if it's 1 star, so we're going up to 3 stars, 1 star will be good, nice to have, but not really super necessary. 2 stars will be great, makes the hero actively better, but not purely vital and essential. And then 3 stars is going to be must have, totally essential. On top of all of that, when applicable, if there's a key level you're targeting, I will tell you. You know, I'll probably just tell you the level every time if the level is the top level. So like level 4 or level 5, whatever it's going to be, I'll just tell you that. Let's kick things off. Let's go right into it. So far, no cuts. Maybe we won't have to do it. Where to put your skill ups, Legendary Piercer Edition, starting with Aracha. Let's go. So her basic attack, this is 1 star. You don't need to skill Aracha at all if you just want to use her as a Lord. But if you do want to use her, she does do damage scaling off of her basic attack, so this is nice, but because she's not such an important damage here to begin with, I'm just giving it 1 star. Nice, you don't need it. If we go to the ultimate, I'm not going to give anything on Aracha, by the way, more than 2 stars, just because I don't think most people need to skill her up for most things. That is just a consideration, because we're talking about how to prioritize your skill dust and really your legendary skill crystals. But we look over here, All of this is essential. You're reducing costs, you're getting initial rage, all the way up to level 5 where you get 5 additional seconds. Her ult can be really powerful, especially if poison starts becoming more relevant. Like I said, I don't think she's relevant enough as a hero to warrant 3 stars, but we will give her 2 stars, and the key condition here is level 5. As I said, the key condition here obviously is level 5. This is an important skill though on Aracha, right? Because her damage is scaling off of her basic attacks. Let's go now to her first passive, Spider Toxin. You're going to have a chance to inflict poison and spider bite. This is pretty nice. It leads to some AoE damage burst upon explosion. It's not very important. The burst isn't that much, and it only goes from 30% to 40%. This is not where her damage is coming from. Her damage is coming on the main target or the multiple targets that are stacking poisons, not from the explosions themselves. This is a solid 1 with the level condition being level 5. If we go to the passive here, Messy Web. After every 6 attacks, the next attack will ensnare the target in spider webs and inflict stun. This is really nice. This is a key thing for Aracha, especially if you're going to deploy her, because you probably want to use her in something like Guild Wars. You want a lot of crowd control, or maybe using her in Guild Boss 2, and you want to land more crowd control effects. This is definitely a 2-star. I'd say for Aracha, this is borderline 3 stars, but again, I just don't want to give the impression I think she needs skilling up. So we'll leave it at 2 stars, and the level condition will be 5. That's the level you're shooting for. Awesome. Also, if ever the level isn't 5 and it's 3 or 4 or something, that doesn't mean you need to stop there. That's just the key level. That's what I'm keying in on. But you can see to the end here, you're reducing the required attacks, which is the key thing. Here, you're getting additional duration on them, additional seconds. All of this is valuable, level 5. Let's go now to Iovar, our other legendary lord. Let's kick it off with the basic. I'll tell you, Iovar is interesting because he is not an Infernal Roar hero. His damage during his ultimate is a pure burst. It's a separate kind of damage. It is not scaling off of his basic attacks. So for heroes like that, and we'll see a couple examples, especially when we contrast Silas versus Hex, the basic attack just isn't as important. So this is a solid 1, 1 star out of 3, not that important. However, the damage gets better and better. So it's 50% on each hit. So 100% damage goes up to 120, 60% on each hit. Very solidly, this is 1 star, level 5 as the target. If we go to the ultimate now, this is where I think people miss out on stuff. You come from other games and you go, it's just damage. I don't care. Read the skills, right? So you can get up to 12 swords behind Iovar. When you ult, if he's at a maximum 12 swords, you get 5 strikes per sword. So that's 60 strikes. Each one of those strikes is going to do 25% damage, but each level gives more damage per strike. So in the situation where you have 12 swords and you do 60 strikes, this isn't plus 3% damage. It's plus 180% damage, plus 180% damage, plus 240% damage, and then plus 300%. So if you add this all up together, you're looking at an additional 15% damage per sword with 60 swords. That's 900% damage. So this is a hard 3-star skill up priority, and it is going to be level 5 as the target, as the key level. If we go now to the first passive, Victorious Pursuit, upon casting the ult, the next 3 attacks are going to deal more damage. And also you're going to get an extension of the effect. The only way to further extend this effect is through awakenings. So it's really like how much additional damage are you going to get? You can see each attack is going to deal that over that 10-second period. It does kind of add up. It's not super necessary, but if you want him at his full potential, you're going to need it. This is going to be 2 out of 3 stars with, again, each one's the same amount, but level 5 is still going to be the target level. If we go now to this passive over here, after an allied marksman casts their ultimate, gains 1 flying sword, and the following 3 basics of this hero are going to ignore an additional 15% defense. So kind of key here that you can increase both the anti-air damage and the penetration. The penetration is key. That makes level 5 the target level. This is not as essential in terms of the scaling because it's only 3 basic attacks as the ultimate. So this is going to be 2 out of 3 stars with level 5 as the goal. Don't worry, it's not always going to be level 5, but a lot of times it is because this is Watch of Realms. This is not like other games. That is Iovar. Let's continue on to Calypso. Let's go with her basic. Calypso, unlike Iovar, but like Aracha, is a basic attack hero. So she does work in things like Infernal Roar. So her basic attacks are essential. And unlike Aracha, if you're going to use her, you're going to build her and you're going to deploy her. So I'm going to grade her on that rubric. Because she is an Infernal Roar hero, because basic attacks are essential to her, this is a super important skill. Slightly different because of her seal stone mechanics, but it's still really important. This is going to be a 2 out of 3 star skill with level 5 as the target level. If we go to the ultimate, this is your first example of a different target level, not level 5. You can see the key things here are reducing the skill cost, how frequently she's going to be able to auto ult and get those seal stones generated. So the key condition here is going to be level 4. That's the target level. And it's going to be 2 out of 3 stars. You might be thinking, shouldn't it be 3 out of 3 stars? Don't you really need this skilled up? It takes a little while regardless. The difference between, typically if you don't have her A5, you can only get 4 soul stones. So the difference between it taking 2,400 total rage or 2,000 total rage, whether this is 600 or 500, actually isn't that stark of a difference. So though it is important, 2 out of 3 stars, it's not a 3-star skill. Level 4 is going to be the target. That doesn't mean to stop there, but that means if you're going to invest, this is where you want at least level 4. That's kind of what we're saying. If we go to the first passive here, this is pretty underrated. This is a pretty nice burst, and this is kind of something you need to make Calypso sing. So after 9 attacks, the next attack is going to deal this little burst damage, and the seal stone damage is going to increase, and that lasts for 9 seconds. What you can do, though, is the trigger number of attacks can be reduced to 7, and you can get additional damage. We don't care as much about the additional damage, though it is significant, right? From 150% to 250%. Also, the seal stone damage goes up, but the key thing is you just want this triggering as much as possible. So obviously the target level is level 5, and this will also be 2 out of 3 stars. And so you really just got to get skills into Calypso. It's true of most heroes in this game. Finally, Evil Protection, the caster and seal stone gain the Eldritch God's Blessing. Oh my God. Every 35 seconds, triggering 2-hit combos for 6 seconds. This is so key because what happens with skill ups is you can get this down to 25 seconds and lasting 10 seconds. So 6 out of 35 is like 1/6 uptime. 10 out of 20 is, I mean, what is that? That's 40% uptime. That's 2/5 uptime. Because it goes up to 20 out of 50. This is really significant. This is a big boost. It's not breaking her in half, but it is kind of required. This is 2 out of 3 stars again, and obviously the target level is going to be level 5. We can skip. We already did skip Eliza and Lunaria, so let's go down, making some progress here. Nyx, one of the very, very best heroes in this faction. She is a basic attack hero. When I say that, I mean the ult is doing something that is revving up the basics. It's not replacing the basics. So that means she scales. It's incredibly important how well she scales with the basics. Because she's so much stronger than Calypso, this all becomes really important. So her basic attack here, it's a borderline 3-star skill. I will give like 1 knock away just because you can get away without it since there's so much other scaling elsewhere. But it's like 2.5 out of 3 stars, I would say. Maybe actually I'll add that when I need it. So this will be 2.5 out of 3 stars, nearly a 3-star skill. You definitely need the target level to be level 5. If we go to the ultimate now, this is a no-brainer. This is what cracks Nyx in half. Everything is just big, crazy AoE bursts. It starts at 20 seconds, but this goes all the way up to 30 seconds with skill ups. You obviously can get big damage increases and you can reduce the cost a lot. You need this thing maxed. Definitive 3-star skill. And obviously the target level will be level 5. The first passive, blast after blast, when detonating multiple bombs. Really weird thing because they don't really talk about bombs in her kit, but it's just when she's ulting and then they're doing the AoE blast. That's the bomb. When she's doing that, it's increasing her blast damage by 10% and the radius as well. The radius is the key thing. That doesn't change. The damage does go up. You can triple that burst. It's nice. It's not necessary, but it scales. This is a 2-star skill with the target level being level 5. If we go to the passive now, the dagger will return to the caster's hand, dealing AoE damage equal to 30% of attack to enemies on the path. This is a singular instance when the dagger returns. Again, it's kind of weird because there's a lot of mistranslation in Nyx's kit. Essentially, you can see here she throws her dagger out like that during the ultimate, and then it comes back. So it's happening on whatever the duration of the ultimate is at whatever her attack interval is. So, you build her at, let's say 2.0 seconds. I think she's a 3.5 champion at base. Yeah, so 2.0 seconds, you're getting 10 times. So it's 10 instances of, instead of 30% damage, it's going to be 10 instances of 70% damage. So it's the difference between 300% damage and 700% damage. Sounds like a lot, but kind of isn't over 20 seconds. It's nice. It's not strictly required. This is a 1 out of 3 stars, and it's going to obviously level 5 be the target. All of Nyx is really good, though. Awesome, awesome hero. On to the second line now. Apsan. So he gets a demerit out of the gate because he's just useless, but I'm still going to break him down. So cool thing with Apsan, right? He is not a basic attack hero, so he's even worse than you'd think. So, or I guess this is the only thing that really needs to be skilled. We will start with the basic, though. This is definitely just 1 star. Not going to get 0 stars because it still does make an active difference, improves the hero, but it's not important. Level 5 is the target. If we go to the ultimate now, this is an auto. It's just 3 enemies and it's 1 instance of damage. It's key to making Apsan special. If he was a good hero, this would be a 3-star skill. He's not, so it's a 2-star skill. And obviously you want to get this reduced from 450 skill costs, 450 rage to 400, though that only reduces it like 1/9, right? So it's not so significant. Still, the target level is level 5. This is a 2-star skill, but Apsan sucks. I'm probably going to say that a few more times just to drive the point home. Here you can see on a 40-second cycle, deals extra damage equal to 15% of attack for 10 seconds. You can make this last 15 seconds, and you can make this be a 30-second cycle. So instead of, what is this, 3/8 uptime, it goes to exactly, am I correct? Yeah, exactly 50% uptime. So instead of 10 out of, instead of a quarter uptime, excuse me, so 10 out of 40 seconds, it goes to half uptime. So 15 out of 30 seconds. It's not enough damage. It's really not. It's really not that extra damage. It is per hit, but he's not attacking that hard. If you're going to skill Apsan, this is kind of the only skill I care about. This is going to be a 1-star skill, and the target's going to be the cooldown, not the extra damage. The target's going to be level 4. If we go to this final auto passive here, within 15 seconds of deployment, every basic attack triggers Javelin Pierce. This is only off initial deployment. It's not good. This is a borderline 0-star skill, but it does still make a difference, especially if you use him in like early game arena, which is kind of the only place I can imagine using him is like early game anti-air, maybe early mid game. This can be 15-second duration, goes up to 25-second duration. Obviously, the target level is level 5. This is a 1 out of 3-star skill. Let's continue on now to another unbelievable hero, and kind of the hero I always discuss to say, hey, every skill matters. There's no better example than Silas. So Silas's basic attack is just a basic attack, right? 100% damage goes up to 120%. Every one of these levels is essential. This whole skill is essential. All of his damage scales off of this. So if you like his ignoring defense, if you like his soul sniping, if you like all his shredding, that all starts here. It's a front of the calculation thing, this additional damage boost. It's how the actual basic attacks function. This is definitely a 3-star skill, and you want to target level 5. Could you ignore it? Sure. But if you want to max out your Silas, it is key. Let's call it 2.5. We'll call it 2.5 because obviously it can't be the level of the ultimate. But I hope that makes sense to people. All of the attacks, all of the great ultimates, all the cool boosts from the passive, that is all scaling off of the basic. So the basic is essential. It's not like other games. That's why I've always been resistant to this exercise. We'll call this a 2.5-star skill. Level 5 is the target. The ultimate, complete no-brainer. It's one of the best ults in the game, especially once you get Virna. This allows all the soul sniping to go crazy, and he ignores everything. It's completely essential. 3-star skill. I will say you want to max it out, but we'll say the target level is level 4. The duration is key. The difference between 900 to 1,000 is nice, but the difference between 15 seconds and 20 seconds, that is the key thing. So the level key will be level 4. Ideally, please max it. Definitive 3-star skill. If a unit within attack range dies, increases damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So this is an end of the calculation damage boost, much less valuable than this. This damage boost is scaling off of this initial damage. This is like the actual multiplier, if that makes sense. So you can see it's for 10 seconds. It can be triggered every 20 seconds. You can have this be triggered every 15 seconds, and you can have the damage increase go up to 40%. This is going to be a 1-star skill. It is nice, but it's just going to be a 1-star skill, and the key level is level 4. You really just want to bring this down to a 15-second cycle, not a 20-second cycle. Finally, Eye of Curse, really strong. After attacking the same target for 5 seconds, inflicts Eye of Curse upon the target for 8 seconds. Eye of Curse will be triggered only one time every 20 seconds. Soul Sniping will deal 50% extra damage to targets with Eye of Curse. Really important to get Eye of Curse. It is post-calculation damage boost, so it goes on the pile, on that additive pile that gets multiplied on later. but it is really good. You want that mark duration. You care less about the damage increase. This is a 2 out of 3 star skill. It is really good. The key level is going to be level 3. You want all of it, but the key thing is you just really want this thing to last 12 seconds. You want to keep that mark up against bosses as much as possible. Cannot skill the bond skill. There is Silas. I'm going to skip Sargak for 1 second. I'm going to skip Sargak and go to Hex because he's a great compare and contrast to Silas. And like I said, this is the reason why we started with the Star Piercers. If you look here on Hex, he is not a basic attack hero. His ultimate becomes a totally different thing. It's really extremely strong damage, but it's its own unique damage. This is why you're going to see Hex in things like Soulbound Arcana as opposed to Infernal Roar. Also, Soulbound Arcana is just broken. And I will say Hex does have a 0-star skill, so I've been looking forward to discussing that. Hex is basic. This is nice. It is not needed. Obviously, the target level is level 5, but it's a 1-star skill, 1 out of 3-star skill. The ultimate is literally everything with Hex. It's similar to Silas. The key level is going to be level 4, but you really would like to reduce the skill cost to 900. It's the exact same situation as Silas. Definitive 3 out of 3-star skill. The target skill's level 4, but please max it. We go to the first passive here. This skill's underrated. Each attack launched has a 15% chance to inflict stun on the target for 2 seconds. Increases damage dealt to targets inflicted with CC effects by 45%. That increased damage can go up to 60%. The trigger chance can go up to 20%. I like this, but I think the damage boost just going up 33 total percent damage from 45 to 60, and which is actually less if there's other damage boosts, which obviously there are. So it's fairly minor. And the trigger chance from 15 to 20 is nice, but it's not huge. The skill could be better. It does have some key uses, especially in PvE content, and can be kind of pesky in GVG, though Hex you outgrow him in GVG defense. This is a 1 out of 3-star skill, even though it's not bad. You're not going to value it. The key level is level 5, but this is one that's like borderline you could ignore, but it does make an active boost. One that does not make an active boost for almost any content is Fate the Hermit. This is our first 0-star skill. You can skill it, but you just don't need to. It's already on a 50-second cycle. You go down to a 40-second cycle, so it's happening. You reduce the weighting by 20%. Doesn't move the needle much for me on a skill that kind of sucks. Only 3 seconds of invisibility. He also gets a shield from that when you have Twyla, but this skill is just kind of an L. This is a 0-star skill. In theory, if I could do it, I would want to max out these 3 skills for Hex, and if I'd skipped any skill ups here, I would just stop. I would only ever skill it up if I wanted BP or I just wanted to be a completionist for some reason. So this is our first 0-star skill. Not important. Let's circle back now to Sargak. We're about halfway done. Sargak is a basic attack hero. This is a definitive 3-star skill, in my opinion, just like Silas, or I guess we'll do the same thing I did with Silas. So it's a 2.5-star skill. It is essential, though. I just need to give it 1 knock because we can't make it as good as the ultimate over here. That's kind of be the thing. When we have a really strong DPS hero that scales off of basic attack, we're going to give 2.5 stars probably every time to the basic, as I'm doing now. The target level is level 5. Let's go to the ultimate. It's the exact same thing, actually, as Hex and Silas. They're all starting at 1,000. They all can go down to 900. You want them all to go down to 900. It's a 3 out of 3-star skill. It's huge for Sargak. Every piece of this is key. However, the target level remains level 4, getting that 5-second additional duration. We go to the passive here. Increases attack speed by 6 for every 1% HP lost. The effect of specialized attack speed is stronger when HP is lower. You can increase this by 4. That is huge, right? Because you could have lost 99% HP. Let's just say 90 to make the math easier for myself. If you're getting this additional attack speed increase, it adds up to 4 more attack speed per percentage, and you've lost 90%. That's 360 more attack speed. You're really pushing him towards that maximum attack speed in the game of 1,200. This is essential. I can't give it 3-star. Can I? Yeah, this kind of makes Sargak the machine gun. This is a 3 out of 3-star skill. You need to max this out if you want to actually invest in Sargak. We got a 3 out of 3-star skill here. Level 5 is the target. If we go over here to Feral Force, when the target's HP is below 40%, increases the damage. This gets improved by skill ups. It starts at 10%. If the target is already inflicted with Bleed, Blood Spear, you can get Bleed from the talent over here. Blood Spear, his ultimate, I believe. No, Blood Spear. What's Blood Spear? Blood Spear will inflict Blood Spear's from the talent, excuse me. Blood Spear will inflict a mobilized state upon them for 2 seconds. A mobilized state can be triggered 1 time every 5 seconds. It's only every 5 seconds. So if this skill up was like, it could be triggered, -1 second, -1 second. So it'd go down to 3 seconds. That'd be kind of special. Increasing the HP threshold from 40 to 50 is nice. It's not necessary. Damage boost from 10% to 20, again, is nice, but it's not going to move the needle as much as you think. It will manifest as like a 6% damage boost. It's a nice skill, but it's a 1 out of 3 star skill. And I'll say, I guess if you're going to invest in it, level 5 will be the target because you're just going to want to get that HP threshold as high as possible. Let's go to Kai now. Another AoE marksman here. Kai is an interesting guy. He really is. It's kind of strange because parts of his kit absolutely are basic attack scaling, especially since his buff, but a lot of the explosions and stuff aren't, so he doesn't get the same importance on his basic as others. I'm inclined to put him more in the range of like a Hex. So for that reason, we'll make his basic attack here a 1 out of 3 star skill. The target level is level 5. If we go to the ultimate now, Doomsday Cluster. Lots of stuff going on here. And this is where you can really start investing. If you're going to use Kai and he's not bad enough and not deployable enough like a rock anymore, then I'm going to give him a demerit. This is a 3 out of 3 star skill. If you want to use Kai, this is how you do it. The damage boosts are kind of significant. This extra 150 is nice. The extra 50 is fine. But bringing this from 900 to 700, that is significant. So this is a 3 out of 3 star skill, and you're going to have level 5 as the target. If we go to this passive here, each enemy hit by his cluster projectiles or small bombs is going to restore 0.3% rage for this hero. When hitting airborne units, the rage restore is doubled, so it's 0.6. This goes up to 0.7, or when doubled, 1.4. It's pretty significant if you want to use Kai and you want to cycle Kai effectively. I'm going to say this is a 2 out of 3 star skill. Obviously, you want to max the whole benefit here, so the target level is level 5. Let's go now to Eradication Protocol, one of the best parts about Kai. If you're going to invest in Kai, this is what you invest in, the ultimate and this. This is a 3 out of 3 star skill. The damage dealt by all 2 airborne units by all allied marksmen, not just piercers, all allied marksmen on the field will be increased. Starting at 14% goes up to 20%, and starts at 10 seconds goes up to 15 seconds. So a 50% additional duration from 10 to 15. Essential, 3 out of 3 star skill. Obviously, level 5 is the target. Almost down to the last line, we got Pelagios here, a little Arbiter Piercer Magic DPS. If we go with Pelagios, lots of AoE bursts, but also a little bit of single target, lots of true damage, interesting kind of kit. He's an interesting fella. I don't really know how to say it. A lot of the bursts in his kit is not contingent upon his basic, so this isn't so important, but it is an AoE, and it does scale pretty well. Going up an additional 20% on AoE hits, I do like. But we're just going to call it a 1 out of 3 star skill since it's not key to enabling the rest of his kit. This is going to be a 1 out of 3 star skill. Level 5 is the target. The ultimate, this is kind of the oil making the whole machine run. This is essential. Starts at 700 cost. So here's the difference, right? We talked about Hex, we talked about Sargak, we talked about Silas. They all have the at level 5 minus 100 costs, but from 1,000 to 900. You're reducing it by 1/10, 10%, right? So you have to wait 10% less. This, you're reaching from 700 to 600. That's a lot more significant. 1/7. I mean, I don't know what that comes out to off the top of my head. I think we're talking, quick maths, nearly 15% of a reduction. That's a lot more significant. This is just a much more powerful boost proportionally. So this is obviously a 3 out of 3 star skill. It's needed for him, and the target level will be level 5. Long-winded way of saying max this skill. Let's go now to Ocean's Mark, his passive, the first passive. Poseidon's Fury has a 60% chance to create a vortex. That's the ultimate over here. I hate that it's only 60% chance. I hate that it takes skill ups to increase that, and you can't bring it to 100. You can only bring it to 80. And the duration starts at 3, goes up to 5. You can see these are huge boosts. So this is a 2 out of 3 star skill. It's key for a lot of the places you'd use Pelagios, especially like Guild Wars defense. But, it's not as important as the ultimate. But clearly, every one of these levels is key. 60 to 70%, pretty big jump. 60 to 80% jump. You've jumped 33% from 60 to 80. That additional 20% chance trigger is really, really nice. So I'm saying it will be triggered 33% more of the time than it normally would. And then duration. Duration is going up 66% from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Enormous. So 2 out of 3 star skill. and the target level is level 5. The final passive, when there are 5 enemies, or when there are more than 5 enemies in range, his ultimate will have a 30% chance of being cast repeatedly on random enemies. This can be triggered at most 2 consecutive times. If there are more than 10 enemies, it's doubled. So it starts at 30, when doubled at 60. With skill ups, it will be 40. When doubled, it's 80. That's pretty significant. This is a 2 out of 3 star skill. Not as required as the ultimate, but it's really key, especially when you want to run Furious Torrent over and over to make him work, or you want more opportunities to torture people in Guild Wars defense. These are the main places you use him. 2 out of 3 star skill. The target level is level 5. We have 5 guys remaining, starting with the craziest chick in the land, the hardest hero to get in the whole game, Lady Alex. Let me know in the comments if you have her. There's very few people in the game still, after all this time, that have her. Kind of crazy. Let's go here. She is a basic attack hero. It doesn't seem like it, but everything does scale off the basics, so this is essential. We're going to give her the same thing as Sargak and Silas. This is going to be 2.5 stars, with the target level being 5. If we go to the ultimate, this is so good. It starts at 800. You can take it all the way down to 600. This thing is so important. It's one of the best skills in the whole game. Lady Alex is crazy. This is a 3 out of 3 star skill, and level 5 is the target. If we go to this passive, if there are enemies inflicted with Mark of Enmity, this is the thing that it's the mark that enables her whole kit, allows her to hit them if they're out of range, increases the damage she's going to deal to them, and is also going to reduce the damage she receives from them. If they're inflicted with that, her basic attacks and piercing precision can land extra hits regardless of the attack range. So this gives her that big scope. Each weapon used deals 120% damage. Remember, she's got 2 weapons. So even though this only looks like a 40% damage boost, it's actually an 80% damage boost. And it's on all hits against the things you want to hit. This is an incredibly good skill. Almost 3-star skill, but I'll call it a 2 out of 3 star skill here, with level 5 as the priority level. If we finally go to Penetrating Vision, this one is kind of wacky. Periodically inflicts that mark on the farthest enemy on the battlefield. During this period, the hero's attack ignores 30% of defense, and you can scale this up with skill ups. It lasts 6 seconds, so we want to ignore more defense, and we want this to last longer. Ideally, we want to cycle this faster. When piercing precision is triggered, you're going to reduce the cooldown. You do trigger that a lot, so this does happen a lot more frequently to begin with than 35 seconds. When those piercing precision triggers happen, you can, with skill ups, reduce the cooldown even more. So 1.5 seconds, and then goes all the way up to 2 seconds per hit. The basic cooldown can drop from 35 to 30. Those are the key things, though you do love all of this. And I will say, because it's 20% defense penetration, so it's not just increasing from 30 to 35, it's from 30 to 50. I think all of this is essential. Also, this cycling is what makes Lady Alex, when combined with actually putting the marks out from the ultimate, this is what makes her her. So this is a 3 out of 3 star skill. And there's an argument that level 4 is the target level, but obviously if you have Lady Alex, you need to max her. Level 5 is very much the target here. So 3 out of 3 star skill, level 5 is the target. We're going quick. I know we just hit the 30-minute mark, but this takes a while. I told you this was a big endeavor for me. I'm already losing my voice yapping this much. Let's go to Razaak. Very much not a basic attack hero. 1 big burst on the ultimate. That's where the most special of his damage comes from. So that means the basic over here is a 1 out of 3 star skill. You still want it, but it's 1 out of 3 stars, not top priority. The target level will be level 5. If we go to the ultimate here, this is borderline what you want to target. Can you get away with not maxing it? Sure. The damage multipliers are strictly required. The difference from 700 to 1,000 on his biggest move, which later on with Awakenings has a chance to double hit if you get him A5. It's pretty significant. You certainly need these first 3 levels. This is certainly a 3 out of 3 star skill. I think because it's 900, not 1,000 or higher, I'm going to say that you do want that level 5, no questions asked. So we're going to say a 3 out of 3 star skill, and the target level is level 5. Let's go to the first passive here. When Ocean's Clutch ends, which I believe is the ultimate over here, it's going to enhance his talent, increasing the chance of generating soul-eating fish upon each attack by 20%. The normal chance is 30, so this brings it up to 50, and the quantity of fish goes from 2 to 4. You can further increase the trigger chance from 50 to 70 in this 12-second period after. That's pretty significant. I'm going to call this a 2 out of 3 star skill, and the target level is level 5. Final passive here, it's on a 30-second cycle. Within 15 seconds of deployment, each kill generates 2 soul-eating fish. Afterwards, triggers 1 time every 30 seconds. So what's the key thing going on here? I don't care about the 15 seconds of deployment. That's too specific, but I do care about the future trigger interval. So it's really these two skills, level 2 and level 4. So I don't care about the effect duration. This is going to be a borderline 2 out of 3 star skill, but we're going to call it a 1 out of 3 star skill. And we are going to say the target level is level 4 over here. I could hear an argument that this is 2 out of 3 stars. You can argue in the comments, but I'm going to call it 1 out of 3 stars. I'm going to say level 4 is the target. This is just a Razaak bond. This is a special. This is a Razaak and Reeve bond, and this is a special XP thing. No skill ups going over there. 3 remain. Alaura sucks, but if you want to use her, you really do need to skill her up. She is a basic attack hero. This is important. 2.5 out of 3 stars. The target level is level 5. If we go to the ultimate, same exact kind of thing we've seen with Silas and Hex and Sargak, that 1,000 base going down to 900. The key thing with Alaura, though, you're not going to ult with her very much. So it's kind of strange. You don't care as much about her ultimate as you do with other heroes because you kind of want her to maintain that invisibility for a lot of content. So believe it or not, I'm going to say this is a 1 out of 3 star skill. You can get away without doing it. And certainly you are going to want, if you're going to do it, get it to level 4 to get those maximum damage boosts. But I mean, it's only 5% per thing. She is doing her double hitters when she's doing her ultimate, but essentially it's 10% each. I don't like Alaura, can you tell? 1 out of 3 stars, target skill is going to be level 4. You really don't need that minus 100 because you're not going to ult with her that much. This is kind of a key thing with Alaura. Increases her crit rate by 10%. If there are no allies in the adjacent tiles, increases crit damage by 20%. You're basically using her in some weird isolated spot. I'm flipping my hat back. Some weird isolated spot in Void Rift, or using her on the right side in Gear Aid 3, 19, 20, and 21. So there will be no one adjacent. So you're guaranteed all these effects. Makes her easier to build, which is nice. So you get 20% additional crit rate and you get 30% additional crit damage. Oh, excuse me, my bad. You get 25 additional crit rate. So plus 5% crit rate here, and then it's plus 15. So it's 35% crit damage. I kind of only care about the crit rate just for ease of build. It's all nice, but we're going to call this, again, just like a 1 out of 3 star skill. And we're going to say the target level is level 3. Just get yourself that little crit rate. 10% crit damage didn't do nothing for no one. Here's something, though. During the ultimate, for each crit hit landed, deals 60% damage to 2 targets within 1.5 tiles of the initial target. This is basically like they're coming towards you. You ulted, you turned off the invisibility. I don't care about this skill at all. It's a solid 1 out of 3 stars. The target's level 5. You know, actually, now that I talk through it, kind of none of her skill ups are too exciting. It's tremendously difficult to build Alaura just because of the gear requirements. Because you can see, like, nothing here is really moving the needle in terms of multipliers. That's why I think she's so bad. But yeah, they're all 1 out of 3 stars. We said all the targets. There you go. Tough. I don't like her. Now a hero I love. We've got Yuri. Yuri is very much not a basic attack hero, though she does have nice stuff scaling off of her basic attacks, such as those chaos orbs, but strictly off of the ultimate, it is not. She just stops basic attacking. For that reason, we've got a unique thing here. I'm going to call this a 1.5%, 1.5 out of 3 star skill, getting that extra 10% on the double hitters because the chaos orbs do scale off of this since they're triggered by the basic attacks. But even now that I say it, though, no, I think it is worth it because she's going to spam it a lot, and there's certain content you're not going to trigger her ultimate. It's pretty good. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. This actually is a separate burst now that I'm saying it out loud, but this is better than a 1 out of 3 star skill. We'll call it 1.5 out of 3 stars. First time I've given that ranking. And obviously you want that 4%, so the target is level 5. Here we go, kind of a classic thing. We want that extended duration from 8 seconds to the full 10 seconds, and it's much lower skill cost at 800. We want that down to 700. This is a great skill, crazy range, especially when you're progressing. This thing is a cheat code of a skill. 3 out of 3 stars. The target level is level 5. Let's go to the first passive here. This is so huge. It is so huge. The Talon and Ultimate inflict defense reduction. When you get this skilled out, it goes up to 25%, which makes it like the biggest consistent defense break in the entire game. You know, Estrid and Hotsit can do better, but Hotsit's contingent upon bouncing. Estrid does not trigger and is not 100% uptime. Not reliably, at least. So this is about as good as it gets for defense break in the game. You absolutely need the skill. 3 out of 3 star skill. The target level will be level 4 because you can see it lasts 3 seconds, which for most content is nice. If you can get it, you already got it to 4 seconds with level 3. If you can get to level 5, that extra second's nice. But the key thing is you want that reduction all the way up to 25%. Huge, insanely good skill. The final passive here, each time the talent is triggered, increases attack by 8%, stacking up to 2 times. When reaching max stacks, resets after 20 seconds. This is kind of huge. This is what makes her so strong. If you build her fast, she's got a 2.0 second base attack interval. She can really span these out. You can really get these stacks. You can double this, right? Instead of being 2 stacks, you can make it 4 stacks. That's so much better. And also, it can be a lot more significant. So you can get, instead of 8%, 10%. So right now, this is 16% boost. It goes up to a 40% boost. So instead of 2 stacks for 8, you've got 4 stacks for 10. This thing is freaking huge. It's great to pick up level 5, but the key level here is level 4. So this is going to be, it's borderline 3-star, but we'll call it a 2 out of 3-star skill, and the target level is level 4. Finally, she's got a bond skill with Kagiri, does not need skill ups. Let's continue now. I think we've got one left, and we do. That is Talula, probably the most interesting in the bunch here. We've got a healer on our hands, a little support unit. If we go to the basic, I'm not going to explain Talula's whole kit because it's kind of a hot mess. But what I will tell you, if you ever want to solo heal with Talula, this is really important because this is like how you can see it's all her multiplier, right? It's the same way it interacts with other people. This is what everything else is scaling off of. And her multipliers are really bad. So she needs all the help she can get. Believe it or not, this is definitely a 2 out of 3-star skill, and the target level is level 5. I'm not going to say 3 out of 3-star because a lot of people won't use her as a healer. She's really just a support. But if you do want to use her as a healer, you need the skill. So 2 out of 3 stars. The ultimate over here, you see a difference, right? We get a huge increase in duration from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Her ultimate is when all the magic happens, so you need at least level 4. But frankly, because you're going from 1,000 to 800, reducing the wait time by 20%, that is really significant. This is really key. This is a 3 out of 3-star skill, and it is going to be level 5 as your target. If we go to the first passive here, Forest Spirit and Butterfly Waltz have a 50% chance to dispel 1 debuff from each carrier every 2 seconds. This skill's really good, but actually skilling it up is not as important as you think. Yes, it's nice that this goes from 50% chance to 100% chance, but when she sends these out, her butterflies out, they will last for 8 seconds always, right? I don't know if they explained that anywhere. Trust me, it's 8 seconds. And then the whole time they're out for the ultimate, they're going to do their big circle things you'll see here, and it affects everyone. They're out long enough that they will cleanse unless you're insanely unlucky. So as good as this skill is, you actually can get away with not skilling it, especially if you're using her strictly as a support and you use the skill properly. So I will give this 1 out of 3 stars. The target level obviously is level 5. If you're finding you're having things inconsistent, that could be something, but they stand there long enough, the butterflies, and during the ult, she should cover everybody if you use her properly. So I'm going to say this is 1 out of 3 stars with the target at level 5. The final passive here, this is huge. So if you want to get the rage reduction effect out of her and you want to get the magic mitigation, the magic and physical damage mitigation, you need this thing fully skilled out. This is what allows her to be such a crazy support. She applies this to every ally that her butterflies are on and then every single adjacent tile during the ultimate. So if you do that right, that's going to last for 15 seconds. This is a 3 out of 3-star skill, and obviously you want level 5. It brings her rage regen per second from 0.6 to 1. And then you also get that doubled effect if you get her A3 like I have, where then it will go up to 2. So it makes a pretty stark difference for her support capabilities. I think a lot of people that were underwhelmed by Talula didn't skill her, which is fine because like you might have better people to skill. But if you want to use Talula properly, you really need this maxed and this max. So this will be a 3 out of 3-star skill with the target level 5. Checking in at 42 minutes and 50 seconds. This was quite a doozy. I did do it in one take, so I'm proud of myself for that. I know this is like the ultimate get down in the weeds, obsessive, kind of old school Fastidious video, but if you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, tough shit. You guys kind of asked for this. At the very least, jokes aside, now that I've done all this, gone through it, I did a quick once over, twice over before this, but now I've kind of formulated all my thoughts. I think I'm good to start loading this into the website. So we will repeat the process for Watchguard, North Throne, Nightmare Counselor, Cursed Cult, Infernal Blast, Esoteric Order, Chaos Dominion, Supreme Arbiter, and maybe I'll have a baby video just for the unnamables over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. If you like my stuff, please like it. If you like these really high effort projects and you appreciate the totally free website we provide for you, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on this kind of video in the comments. Share with your mother, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.